Hi guys, welcome back to another video. As you know, I've recently bought an Oculus Rift S, but I haven't done a huge amount of recording with it. The reason for this is that there has also been an update to the Goodwood Festival of Speed mod in Assetto Corsa. The mod is now even better, but the changes have meant that my previous lap times are no longer recognised in the game. I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to re-drive every car I've driven so far using my Logitech G27 steering wheel and pedal setup along with my Oculus Rift S and compare the times with the original ones I set using a controller. Once we've compared the times, I've also driven a new car up the hill which I will show you at the end. It's taken me a while and there were a few issues along the way that I will explain when we get to them, but the results are pretty incredible. This is my Google Sheets spreadsheet that I use to keep track of all of my lap times at Goodwood. As you can see, for the most part, I am quicker using VR and a steering wheel, unsurprisingly. What amazed me was how much quicker I was in some cars. The Lola Aston Martin and the Benetton B191 were both just under 3 seconds quicker than when I drove the same cars with a controller. Now you'll notice that some cars I wasn't able to improve my time, and some of them have no sound written next to them. Now that no sound thing is the issue, or one of the issues, that I have faced along the way. For some reason when I drove those cars there was no car audio, they were completely silent. And this made it really difficult to drive them, as I often used the sound of the engine to choose when to change gear and to get a better feel of how the car is behaving, especially in turbo cars. The worst car for this was the Roof CTR Yellowbird. This car is notoriously hard to drive anyway, and when you take away the sound, I just couldn't put a lap together. You'll also notice that all of the Turbo F1 cars from the 1980s are in red. I found it really difficult to adapt to these cars with my wheel and VR, and when I thought I had done an incredible lap, it was still slower than the original time I set with the controller. I think it will be a case of practice with those cars, which I just haven't driven enough. What this does mean is that our leaderboard has changed somewhat. On the screen now is the top 8 leaderboard from before the update. Now here's the new leaderboard from after the update. The Porsche 919 Evo is obviously still at the top of the timesheets. I'm not sure anything will beat that time, especially as it is now 3/10 quicker. The F2004 is nearly a second quicker than its original time, but stays in second place, whilst the F2002 has dropped from 3rd to 5th after being overtaken by the Benetton B191 and the Williams FW14. The standard Porsche 919 has dropped out of the top 8 and has been replaced by the Tyrrell 020, which has moved up to 7th place behind the Ferrari 643 and in front of the Jordan 191, which remains 8th despite being over a second quicker than its original time. Before I show you the latest car to drive up the hill, I thought I'd show you some of the new runs up the hill that either went a lot quicker than before or they felt like really good laps from the driver's seat. Enjoy. I hope you enjoyed those runs and seeing some of the cars that we haven't driven since the very beginning of this series. Now it's time to drive the latest car up the Goodwood Festival of Speed hill climb. For the 1976 Formula 1 season, Tyrrell had a radical trick up their sleeves to try and overthrow the might of Ferrari. The Tyrrell P34 had 6 wheels instead of the traditional 4. Due to regulations stating that the front wing must be no wider than 1.5 metres, Tyrrell designer Derek Gardner decided to put 4 smaller wheels at the front to stop the tyres extending beyond the front wing and increasing drag. This not only had the advantage of less drag, but the extra wheels meant great brake performance. The P34 was driven by Jody Scheckter and Patrick Depailler in 1976 and both had good results in the car. At the Swedish Grand Prix that year, they finished 1-2, making Scheckter the only driver to date to win in a 6-wheeled car. An updated P34 would be used in 1977, but it was clear that it wasn't as competitive as the year before. At the end of the season, Ken Tyrrell scrapped the 6-wheeled project, selling all of the cars bar the one that Scheckter had won in. Let's see how quickly this radical F1 car can go up the Goodwood Festival of Speed hill climb. The 1976 Tyrrell P34 did the Goodwood Festival of Speed hill climb in 45.60 seconds. That puts it 22nd, directly in front of the 1975 Ferrari 312T and Hesketh 308, which have new times of 45.62 and 45.68 seconds respectively. It is also only just behind the Mazda 787B, which has a new time of 45.55 seconds. This was a really nice car to drive, but I'm not sure how well the mod models the physics of the extra wheels. It didn't feel a huge amount different to the Ferrari or the Hesketh, which probably explains the time. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time, where we may just be driving some more 6-wheeled F1 cars up the Goodwood Festival of Speed hill climb. Bye bye.